You too, Netta.
I'm working for the Times now.
1,100 in the inner ear.
Morgan Stanley does own a small stake in...
Change. Fundamental reform.
Carol Burnett.
To bring home the gold.
So another one bit the dust.
Two-time Olympic medal winner Jessi Ross struck down in her prime. Here's today's story. She was living the dream. Raised in Mason City, Iowa, her parents were constant supporters of her and her sister Elizabeth, although Jessi soon began to shine out a little more. She got hooked by the roller skating fad and joined a local team. At only 6 years old, she began skating, and after years of hard work, she had risen to become one of the top skaters in the program.
Jessi was a sharp kid, very quick. Ha ha ha! Her wit and in her skating, but she was a great member of the team, though. I tell you, I always knew she was going to go far.
Jessi's young talent would not go unnoticed. Her speed and accuracy on the youth speed skating team at the local roller rink caught the eye of a coach from Michigan.
I remember the day Doug first came to the rink. We were having a statewide speed skating competition. I was only 12, but I got to compete with the teams because I was too fast for little kids. I was at the top end of that category anyway. Coach pulled me aside and told me there was a guy from a rink up in Michigan there to watch the races. And I remember thinking, okay, Michigan, that's great, but why did he come to Iowa to watch kids compete?
After the races that day, Doug Smooth offered Jessi a spot on his team in Michigan. Doug had coached a team at Michigan State University that had produced 3 Olympic contenders. At 12 years old, Jessi would have been the youngest person to be on the Michigan State University ice speed skating team in history. But the timing wasn't right.
My family was going through some tough times financially, and they couldn't afford to relocate me to Michigan. It was one of the hardest days of my life when we had to say no to Doug's offer. So I stayed in Iowa and helped out with the family florist business, Ross's Roses, and I stayed there for 4 years. 4 long years. I continued skating at the local rink, and I began training myself during the winters on real ice, on the lake.
Spring of her junior year in high school would be a turning point for Jessi's entire family.
My mother always played those lottery numbers. It only took 30 years to pay off, but it did. She won the big jackpot in our county lottery, over $400,000. That was enough to hire other people to work at Ross's Roses, and I got back to focusing on what was important to me. As soon as I started putting my head back into my practice, magic struck again. I got a call from Doug Smoot. He wasn't coaching at MSU anymore, but he did want me to come up and talk to him about training, hardcore, for the Olympics. Long story short, Doug became my coach, and I set my sight on the Olympic Games.
Jessi moved to Michigan to begin training only 2 short days after her 18th birthday. 6 hours of training, 5 days a week, would become her life for over a year and a half.
Doug was a tough coach. Practices almost every day, strict diets, no social life. But if that's what it took to get to the Olympics, I was going to do it. I did well in a bunch of competitions and finally made it to nationals. Only the top 8 from nationals go on to the Olympics, so I had to be good. And I was. I placed 5th and got a spot on the Olympic team. It was a dream come true.
The women's speed skating team that year took the world by surprise. With 9 total medals, 2 of them went to Jessi.
I came home for the Olympics with a silver medal from the individual 500-meter and a gold for the team relay. Both really tough races. We were up against a lot of fast racers, and I had only been training for a little over 2 years. I made out like a bandit.
Life couldn't get any better for Jessi. With the next Olympics in her sights, she took her training to a whole new level. But all her hard work would come crashing down to the ground, faster than her world record-breaking skate times.
I remember jogging down the street by my apartment one evening, and out of nowhere, a car turned the corner and headed straight for me. I wasn't fast enough, and it knocked me down on the street. Then everything just went dark.
911, what's your emergency?
I just saw a woman get hit by a car. I don't know if she's okay.
Ma'am, can you check to see if she's breathing?
Oh, gosh. I don't know. I don't think so.
Can you find a road sign? Do you know what street you're on?
I'm on the corner of State Street and Emory Drive. Oh, my gosh. There's cars coming down the street still.
Ma'am, I need you to remain calm. Can you stay on the line until an ambulance gets there?
Yes.
Is the woman moving?
She just opened her eyes. Are you okay? Can you see?
Oh, my head! Why me? Why?
I don't remember much of that night, but I know what they told me later.
Jessi had broken both her legs and crushed her nose and chin. The next months of her life would be spent in a hospital, recovering from her numerous internal injuries and mastering her physical therapy, trying to regain the strength to walk again.
I wasn't too fond of that hospital at first, but after 8 months, they started to become my friends. The physical therapy worked.
Jessi lives back in Iowa now with her family. She doesn't speed skate anymore, but she competes in other local events to help earn money for herself. Today, she is training for the community Easter egg hunt with a grand prize of $500.
I don't want to be remembered as the girl who can't speed skate anymore. I just want to be a normal person that happens to compete in Easter egg hunts and has 2 Olympic medals on her wall. Life is a road, and I was standing in it, and I got hit by a car. I'm moving on. Jessi Ross is competitive sports. Boom!